welcome to Non-Inkables. So today is the day. Ursula's Return comes out at our local game stores today. After I make this video, I'm gonna go to some of our local game stores once they open, try to get some stuff, do an unboxing, and then tonight we're playing in a starter deck competition. I'm very excited. If you guys haven't found out, we're made aware of, but Disney Store right now is having pre-orders for the products too. So you can order on there, and I think they're going to ship it out May 31st or June 1st, depending on the product. Everything is MSRP, so I think probably a good deal for the Trove and the Illuminator's Quest. And there's a limit of 5 for each product. And then, of course, if you use free ship, you can get free shipping over $75. So I ordered some of those just kind of like as backup in case we can't get the product from our local game store because they're sold out, or somewhere else, like in the beginning, you know. So I thought because it's Ursula's Return, we should talk about all the Ursula lore stuff that has been released prior to set 4. So it's kind of like a combination. Some of it starts with like the trailer, which I will show and then talk about, and then also I'm going over like the cards. So it starts off in the trailer for set 2, Rise of the Floodborn. One of the Lumineers goes into this room. He sees this lore book that is covered in purple seaweed and purple barnacles. And the lore book calls out to him, and it makes his ink caster vibrate. So then he plays his ink caster. And that causes the lore book to open, and these black tendrils come out, and it releases the flood that leads to Rise of the Floodborn. So the ink flood that goes and pours out into the Inklands. So now let's take a look at the cards. So in set 1, there is this Flotsam card that says, we know someone who can help you for a price. The Jetsam card says, we can help you get anything you want. The Ursula card says, the first rule of villainy, if you're going to be evil, you've got to have style. We have her Cauldron that just says, perfect for mixing potions. However, there is this Duke of Wesselton card, and if you see, he is holding a magnifying glass to that purple seaweed we saw around her lore book, and it says sorcery. I knew there was something dubious going on here. And you can see the purple seaweed again in this Mickey Mouse detective card. Fishbone Quill is also part of Ursula's stuff, and that card says, if you want to cross the bridge, my sweet, you've got to pay the toll, in Ursula quote. The Peter Pan's Dagger card says, like so much other lore, Peter Pan's dagger was safe in the Great Illuminary until the flood. And that makes me think that in Lorcana, lore refers to items as opposed to the nebulous points or whatever that we are always questing for when we play the game. But then maybe what we're actually questing for is items and stuff. So this sentiment is kind of supported by this Ariel card from set 3 that says, shipwrecks are a great place to find lore and hide from sharks. So maybe that lore she's looking for is thingamabobs and treasure. And then also supported by this Aurelian Gyrosensor card that says, it can point you towards lost lore, but if you're not careful, it'll lead you off a cliff. So maybe that lost lore is all the items that used to be in the Great Luminary that have now been lost from the Luminary due to the ink flood. And then this Donald Duck card says, you go ahead, Minnie. I'm going to see if there's any lore over here. So it doesn't seem like he's necessarily looking for points, you know? So I think lore is stuff. Moving on, this Judy Hopps card says, I'll get to the bottom of what happened to that locked lore book. You can count on me. And I think in that case, she is referring to that lore book from the trailer that we saw that was unlocked. And then Chief Bogo, also part of the police force, says, we can confirm the ink flood was caused by an explosion. We have it under control. Now clear the area. I don't think they have it under control, but, you know, he's an authority. He needs to show his confidence. The Flotsam card from set 3 says, Ursula needs lore to complete her plan. Further confirming, I think that lore is stuff. And because why would she need like points? She's not playing Lorcana, so she doesn't need lore to win the game. I think lore is just stuff. And Jetsam's card said, there must be powerful lore here, very powerful. And then the Ursula Deceiver of All card says, I don't want much, just the most powerful lore. Moving on, there is this Magic Broom card that says, even with a hauling weight of seriously a lot, it can only do so much in a magical flood. And then in set 4, we get this other magical broom card that says, just a few barnacles away from retirement. And I just feel so bad for the brooms that they have to clean up all of this mess. And in this magical broom card, you can see both the barnacles and the purple seaweed that we saw covering Ursula's lore book in the trailer, and also those black tendrils. So the basis for what I think is the story behind everything comes from this card. So Ursula's plan. With both the crown and the trident together, we would be unstoppable. So I think in this case, the purple Ursula, which is Ursula's return set 4 Ursula, has signed a contract, made a deal with purple Ursula, which is Ursula, deceiver of all, green Ursula, that they would steal the trident and the crown and they would rule together. And so I think they go to try to steal it. And then there's a Triton card that says Triton's decree. Ursula's foul creatures are not welcome in my kingdom. And then there's this Ursula's trickery. So you see the green Ursula holding the trident and trying to get the crown. And then you see the purple Ursula kind of in the foreground. You see just her arm and stuff. And the text is, "How dare you double-cross me," Ursula shouted, lunging at the other glimmer. And I think that other glimmer is the purple Ursula. And then in the Jetsam card, it says, "He snatched the trident from the betrayed glimmer." So I think the green Ursula was betrayed, and Jetsam here is able to get the trident. And then you have Ursula, Mad Sea Witch. It says, "After her, Flotsam, I can't rule Lorcana without the Hexwell crown." And so I think currently in this art, the crown is being held by one of the tentacles of the green Ursula, and the purple Ursula has taken the trident at least, and her Flotsam, Jetsam are going to go get the crown for her. And then in the Flotsam card, Ursula's baby, it says, "Now the crown and the trident are mine." So Flotsam was able to get her crown for her. And then I think next in the story is Triton's trident, and it says, "Just imagine all this power in the wrong hands," and hers are the wrong hands. And then I wanted to highlight some of the cards that show the black tendrils that are kind of taking over everything. It seems to be like a bunch of Mulan cards and then just random other ones. So there's this Khan card, the beloved steed. You see the black tendrils. There's this picture of Li Shang, who is battling the black tendrils. There's this one of Mulan. And it says Ursula's messengers fled, which I assume are Flotsam Jetsam, and leaving behind tendrils of dark ink. And then there's this Mulan where she's injured and there's black tendrils in the foreground. There's this one with Chifu. He says, "You there, keep that fighting away from here. It's imperative that I write to the emperor." And so I think the black tendrils are distracting him from writing his letter. You can also see it in this Dolores card. And of course, Dolores would probably be able to hear exactly what is going on with the Ursulas. And then also in this Raya card with Namari in the back, they are also in the middle of a fight. And then you see it in this Argus card. And then I think there's like this side story of Belle, and then also a side story with the Frozen characters. So the Belle one starts with this beast card, Wounded, and it says, "It wasn't the severity of the wounds, but the sickly substance that caused such unbearable pain." So I think in the process of fighting Ursula, Beast gets injured, and you see the like purple seaweed wrapped around his lower leg here. And then in this Belle Untrained Mystic card, you see Beast's paw, and he's got both the purple seaweed as well as the barnacles on him. And it says, "No matter what she tried, Belle couldn't completely heal Beast's wound," which makes me think maybe those barnacles and seaweed are poisoned. And then next is the Mystical Rose card. "Ink surrounded Belle's last hope to heal the beast. With no other choice, she reached out for it." And then we get this Rose Lantern. Said, "The transformed rose made short work of Beast's wound. So yay, Beast is healed. But even the gentlest magic comes at a cost." And then you see this card where Belle has that Rose Lantern in front of her and all these petals swirling. It says, "The mixed ink had changed more than just the rose," which makes me think that Belle has also been changed by the mixed ink. And that has caused some change for her, for better or for worse. So I think that is like the side story that's going on with Beauty and the Beast. And then I think there's another side story of the Frozen characters. So if you look at the Hans card, it says Hans was confident he could bring Anna to Ursula. All he needed was something of Kristoff's to lure her in. And then Olaf's card says, "Isn't this Kristoff's hat? If he went this way, he'll be caught in that storm." And then Anna's card says, after talking to Olaf, Anna marched into the unexpected storm to save Kristoff, which makes me think Hans planted Kristoff's hat, which Olaf found, which made Anna think that Kristoff was in the storm when he actually wasn't in the storm. And so Anna went in after him. And then Elsa's card says, after Elsa dispersed Ursula's storm, Anna was nowhere to be found, which makes me think Hans' trick was successful, unfortunately. And he was able to basically trick Anna into going into the storm. And then in the storm, she got nabbed. And there is some precedence for Elsa being able to banish the storm, because there is a card from set 2 called Elsa Gloves Off. And in that card, it says, the power of ice may not stop the flood, but it will help protect Lorcana. There's also this card, Ice Block, and it says frozen ink can be harvested and processed to many useful ends, which makes me think maybe Elsa froze the ink flood in her portion, but then like what can it be made to? What useful ends are they talking about? That makes me worry. If we look at some of the text that's on the Illumineers Quest Deep Trouble box, it says, the game follows the Illumineers as they track down the malevolent Glimmer Ursula, I think that is the purple Ursula, to her lair at the edge of Lorcana. Unfortunately, Ursula has been preparing for the Illumineers' arrival by entangling Glimmers with mind control, as well as causing natural disasters to create seemingly impossible obstacles. I think that natural disaster is the flood, the ink flood that caused Floodborn. And so in this little blurb, it says that her lair is at the edge of Lorcana. And if you look at the Prince Eric card from set 3, it says, the storm came out of nowhere, forcing Eric to turn back before he reached the mysterious structure at the edge of Lorcana. So I think that storm may have been the storm that Kristoff was not stuck in, that trapped Anna, and the mysterious structure is most likely Ursula's lair, which is at the edge of Lorcana. That is what I have come up with for Ursula lore. Let me know if you guys have seen anything else that I didn't bring up. And I'm very excited for Ursula's return release. Hopefully we can get the quest, the Lumineers quest, so that we can actually play, and maybe it'll explain more about the full story, and we'll see if I was right or not. And as always, keep shuffling. Hopefully you don't end up with a whole handful of non-inkables. Check out our TCG store. We are listing new cards every day. All right, bye.